Okay, let's unpack this.
Hmm.
We're diving into a story that is just truly shocking. It combines these huge public funds, infrastructure that's meant to protect people from floods, and a scandal that feels like it's being fought on two completely different fronts.
That's the key takeaway right from the start. We're looking at a new batch of allegations, and these are coming from some very high-level officials, specifically Interior Secretary Jonvic Remulla and Senator Ping Lacson.
Right.
And what their sources reveal isn't just, massive fraud. It's the incredibly elaborate high-stakes campaign to shut the whole investigation down.
Yeah, we're not talking about some quiet, minor attempt at influence here. This
Yeah.
is, well, it feels like a multi-pronged counterattack. The numbers being thrown around for both the alleged corruption and the alleged cost to stop the probe, they're just staggering.
Exactly.
This deep dive is really our attempt to understand the strategy behind what feels like a two-front war against transparency.
It is. I mean, on one side, you have
Yeah.
the old school, shockingly blunt method,
Mhm.
a massive cash bribe, and on the other, you have something thoroughly modern, almost surgical, digital sabotage. The goal being to destroy the credibility of the government's own data. We really have to look at both to grasp the scale of the desperation here.
Okay, so let's start with the bribe attempt, because that figure alone just stops you dead in your tracks. We are talking about an allegation from Interior Secretary Jonvic Remulla.
Yeah.
He says he and his brother, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla, were offered P1 billion.
P1 billion.
Oh.
That's not just a bribe. That is an exit payment. That's an alleged offer to make an entire legal problem just vanish.
Yeah.
The audacity of that number, it speaks volumes.
And the target is so strategic. It wasn't just aimed at one official. You have Jonvic Remulla, a powerful cabinet secretary, and his brother, who heads the Office of the Ombudsman.
Right, which is an independent constitutional body.
Exactly.
And that's the brilliance and the peril of the alleged offer. To quiet down the investigation, they didn't just need to stop the police or, the political momentum. They needed to neutralize the entire apparatus of investigation and prosecution.
So by targeting both of them.
By targeting both, the offer allegedly tried to purchase silence across the entire accountability spectrum. It's incredibly ambitious.
So according to Jonvic Remulla, the offer came through a mutual friend of someone implicated in the scandal.
Right, in a private meeting.
And the goal was simple: stop the probe, make sure a specific suspect would not be indicted.
And Remulla's response was, according to him, immediate. A firm no. He then goes straight to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Who, the sources say, supported the decision. He was apparently quoted saying he expected this kind of pressure was bound to happen.
Well, the fact that the highest offices in the land were anticipating billion peso pressure, that just underscores how deep the roots of this scandal must run.
So let's put that P1 billion figure into context for everyone listening. What exactly were the accused trying to stop? What are the cases that warrant that kind of price tag?
The investigation was already active and pretty successful. I mean, to date, charges have been filed against 26 individuals across 2 big cases.
And the alleged fraud there is already topping, what, P386 million?
Exactly. And that's just for the cases that have reached the indictment stage so far.
Nearly P400 million in just 2 provinces. That's already a huge number.
It is. The first case is in Occidental Mindoro. That involves charges against 16 individuals for a P289.5 million project.
Okay.
The second is in Davao Occidental. There, 10 people are charged for a P96.5 million project. So the probes were already getting results.
And who are some of these targets? Who might be driving this level of desperation?
Well, the accused list is prominent. You have the former House Appropriations Committee chair, Zaldi Ko, who is still at large.
Right, with 7 others in that Mindoro case.
So you have political figures being pursued, and then on the other side you have a government contractor, Sarah Diskaya, who surrendered last December with 9 co-accused in the Davao case.
So the momentum was real. People were being charged, some were surrendering, and key figures were on the run.
Yes. So the P1 billion wasn't just some hypothetical number. It was allegedly the financial calculus needed to wipe a slate clean that already had active warrants and high-profile targets on it.
It tells you that the financial exposure and, the risk of actual jail time was seen as being astronomically high.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. When the alleged cost of escaping justice is more than double the confirmed amount of fraud, in just those 2 cases.
It tells you the full scope of what they fear being uncovered is probably far, far larger.
Exactly. Much larger than that P386 million.
Okay, so that sets the stage for the, let's call it, the traditional corruption fight. But now, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's pivot from the old school bribery, cash, to this alleged digital sabotage. We're talking manipulated data, ghost coordinates.
This is where we shift to the revelations from Senator Ping Lacson. He brought forward intelligence from a reliable source, he says, that points to a deliberate attempt to poison public data.
And how?
Specifically, that the former DPWH Secretary, Manuel Bonoan, deliberately sent Malacañang incorrect grid coordinates for thousands of flood control projects.
Incorrect grid coordinates. Okay, for listeners who might not track this stuff daily, why is that so critical? Why does GPS data matter so much?
It's basically the foundation of modern accountability for infrastructure. In the past, an official could just claim a project was done in some general area.
Vague, right.
Very vague. Today, transparency initiatives demand that every peso spent on public works gets tied to a specific verifiable point on a map.
So you can actually go there and check.
Exactly. It lets citizens or auditors physically go to the exact spot and verify the project even exists and check its quality. It prevents ghost projects.
And this bad data allegedly went into a major government transparency tool.
That's the core of it. These incorrect grid coordinates were uploaded to the Sumbangsa Pangulo website. Report to the president. That platform was set up specifically to track thousands of projects from mid-2022 to mid-2025. The result of using Bonoan's data was, and I'm quoting here, grossly inaccurate data.
Wow. How extensive was the damage from these poisoned coordinates?
It was severe enough to flag 421 ghost projects out of the 8,000 being tracked.
421.
And the sources emphasize these were flagged because the coordinates were just fundamentally wrong. They pointed to a place where no construction had happened or couldn't happen.
So Senator Lacson sees this as a cover-up, but it sounds like it's a cover-up with a very specific, tactical, almost psychological layer to it.
That is the crucial insight here. Lacson suspected the motive was strategic sabotage. Yes, maybe he was trying to hide his own alleged involvement in a few ghost projects, but the bigger goal...
The bigger goal was to ruin the credibility of the entire system.
Precisely. To ruin the Sumbangsa Pangulo website itself, it's weaponizing the transparency tool against his own purpose.
I see. So you're an auditor, or just a citizen, you go to a website.
Right. Imagine you check 3 or 4 projects in your area. The coordinates point to the middle of a lake, or a crowded neighborhood where you can't build anything.
If the first few you check are just spectacularly wrong, you'd immediately lose all faith in the platform. You'd assume all the data is junk.
You got it. And if the tracking system is seen as unreliable, then any real findings of ghost projects lose their credibility.
Right.
The accused can just argue, oh, it's not that the projects don't exist, it's that your system is faulty.
So it creates plausible deniability.
Exactly. Lacson himself noted that the 421 figure might be bloated precisely because of the wrong locations. It shows how deliberately introducing errors was the weapon here.
It's fascinating. You have one strategy, the P1 billion bribe, aimed at stopping the human investigators, and this other strategy, the ghost coordinates, aimed at destroying the digital evidence itself. But this all raises a huge question of accountability. If Bonoan allegedly orchestrated this, where is he now?
Well, accountability is proving difficult, which, is often the case. Bonoan left the country on November 11, 2025. The stated reason was to accompany his spouse for a medical procedure in the U.S.
And his return date was supposed to be
It's December 17th, 2025. But the Bureau of Immigration has confirmed he has not yet returned.
That timing seems more than a little suspicious. Had he already been contacted by authorities before he left?
Oh, yes. He was previously called to appear before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee inquiry, which is the main body for this kind of investigation. He failed to show up.
And now with these new allegations from Lacson, the pressure must be mounting.
Significantly. The Senate committee isn't stopping. Lacson says they're preparing to issue a subpoena. If Bonoan fails to comply with that, the committee moves to contempt proceedings.
Which means?
If cited for contempt, an arrest warrant will be issued. The process is clear. The stakes for him are rising every week he stays out of the country.
But what are the logistics of that? He's in the U.S., presumably for a legitimate medical reason. Can they actually bring him back?
It's complex, but doable. Lacson assured the public that authorities, including the embassy, are monitoring him. And while a criminal warrant makes extradition simpler, the Senate has powerful oversight tools. There are legal procedures to enforce a contempt citation, even internationally. It's a very serious step they're preparing for.
And what about the actual administrative fraud linked directly to him? He was tied to specific ghost projects in Bulacan, wasn't he?
Yes, a P72.4 million project and another for P95 million. Those specific links are the basis for the administrative case. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure has already recommended filing charges against him. Not minor stuff. The recommended charges are grave misconduct and gross dishonesty. I mean, these are career-ending, legacy-destroying charges.
So stepping back and looking at all this, it all just ties back to that initial idea, doesn't it? It's not just the corruption, it's the resistance to accountability that is so incredibly complex.
That's the thesis of this deep dive, really. The effort to conceal or stop the investigation is allegedly as sophisticated and, frankly, as expensive as the fraud itself. You saw the brute force financial pressure, that P1 billion bribe, and then you see the modern technical countermeasure manipulating public data with bad coordinates.
It's a perfect illustration of how power allegedly adapts to fight transparency. When the investigators get close, you try to buy them off. And when the technology starts working against you, you try to break the technology itself.
It suggests the accused realize that in the 21st century, data integrity is just as crucial to their downfall as a truthful witness on the stand.
So if we connect all this to the bigger picture, what does it tell us?
I mean, these cases are a masterclass in the challenges facing anti-corruption efforts everywhere. Accountability is being attacked from all angles. Officials allegedly use time-tested methods like bribes, and then brand new technical ones like data poisoning. Their goal is just chaos, confusion, and evasion.
And that leads us to a final provocative thought for you to mull over. The alleged manipulation involved coordinates tracking projects over several years. Now, given that the intent was allegedly to destroy public trust in the government's own tracking system, what impact does this alleged intentional sabotage of verifiable digital location data have on the future of all government transparency initiatives? If the simplest piece of objective information where a public project physically exists can be weaponized and made false, how can citizens and auditors ever know what data they can truly trust again?